darker. Yeah, I'm gonna eat the chicken. I'm not gonna eat the orangutan. So I'd rather. Hey, here's food. I ain't got to go to the grocery store. I'd rather eat
the chicken with the orangutan.
Yeah. There you go, together.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hang, orangutan. Have some chicken. Let's get some fried chicken.
Guys, who would you rather see make their first finals appearance? Anthony Edwards or Luka?
Anthony Edwards.
Yeah. I feel bad saying that because I like both, but Anthony Edwards.
I mean, someone had to go on the other side, but godly, I guess we didn't. I'm gonna take Luka.
Luka looks like he smokes cigarettes between games.
I'm gonna go with Luka.
I don't know why. He looks like a smoker.
I want to see Anthony Edwards do it. Because I think he is the next superstar of the NBA.
I agree.
Bring your ass.
But I'm gonna go with Luka just to balance things out.
Okay.
What you got, Lee?
Well, we know Lee's not, but go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, we definitely.
Would you rather have an extra finger or an extra toe?
I definitely want an extra toe.
I don't want people to see.
More ass whipping.
Hey, it's Jonas Knox. 56% of job seekers say their biggest challenge is finding a job that matches their qualifications, according to an Express Employment Professionals Harris Poll survey. The job search can be a lonely process, but Express Employment Professionals can be your one connection to finding a job that fits. Each year, hundreds of thousands of people find work through their local Express office. Find the location near you at expresspros.com. With no fees for job seekers, visit expresspros.com.
What's wrong?
My travel rewards card didn't earn enough miles for my vacation.
Are you crying? Are you crying because of that other credit card?
Uh-huh.
Well, switch to the Capital One Venture card. Venture lets you redeem miles on any travel purchase.
Really?
Yep, and you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every single day. The Capital One Venture card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
In 1848, James Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill. And in 3 years, a multicultural migration grew a sleepy trading post of 800 to a city of over 250,000. These were the first dreamers, innovators, builders, and inventors that defined San Francisco. The San Francisco Historical Society exists to uncover, preserve, and present in engaging ways the colorful and diverse history of our city from its earliest days to the present. As a member, you'll receive The Argonaut, an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And The Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
At Odyssey, to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, we encourage local organizations to refer qualified applicants. Simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com to be notified of all open positions, and we invite our listeners to visit odyssey.com/careers to view a listing of all job openings.
What's up? This is Will I Am. I'm joining Stand Up to Cancer and Providence Health System to let you know, if you're 45 and older, go get a colon cancer screening right now. Ask your doctor or go to providence.org/colon cancer to determine which screening option is right for you.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live. Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear. This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
Whoa! Move on, Joe! Nah, I thought I was feeling pretty confident with that, but all right.
No, we're all pretty confident here, Adam and SF. Why shouldn't you be? It's May 21st. Summertime is around the corner. You're getting done with your finals. You're getting done with whatever projects you had at the end of your semester if you're in college. Getting ready for that next chapter of your life if you're graduating. There's a lot happening right now to be confident about. Or, you know what? Maybe you're a little unsure about your future, but that's okay. It's a Tuesday. You're here with me. You're either working, you can't sleep, you're halfway around the world. Wherever you are, I appreciate you joining me, Joe Spadoni, here on the Pregame Show. For the next hour, you've got me, and we got a lot to talk about. And in order to talk to me, you can do it in a couple ways. First, the phone number, 888-957-9570. That's to call or text the Xfinity mobile text line. Shout out Xfinity Mobile. So call or text with that number. You can also hit me up in a variety of ways because we're streaming in a variety of ways. One of them being on Twitter now. Follow me at Spadoni_Joe. Also follow 95.7 The Game. You can find it there. I'll have a retweet with it. Or repost, whatever the hell they call it now. X, whatever you want to call it. You can also find us on Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. So a couple ways to reach me, a couple ways to talk to me, and talk about Steve Kerr, because this kind of snuck up on me. And I think most people that are Warriors fans and most people at the station, you know, I was looking at a promo during the commercial break before the streaming, or I should say right when the streaming gets started. We have like all these different things. Tune into Willard and Dibs, go breakingt.com/957 if you want to find any of our merch. They have a bunch of different stuff floating around during the breaks or before the stream starts. And one of them was Happy Steve Kerr Day, which is today, I guess, the 10-year anniversary of when Steve Kerr became head coach of the Golden State Warriors. 10 years ago. God, that's crazy. I was, 3 years removed from graduating high school. I think I had just moved up to the Bay Area. I lived in Berkeley first. What else was going on there in 2014? Well, the title then, was that 12? So this May, it would have been who? Oh, the Spurs, right? There's their last little championship run. Man, 10 years since we've had Steve Kerr. And remember, Warriors fans, how were you feeling about that? A lot of them, and to be honest, a lot of people still kind of do. Maybe a lot's a stretch, but there are still people that think if the Warriors retained Mark Jackson as their head coach, they still would have been a champion the following year. I just don't see it personally. I don't. His act, I think, was wearing thin on some of the players, Andrew Bogut being one of them. But Steve Kerr was the right man for the job at the right place at the right time. And that wasn't his only offer. Remember, Phil Jackson, who was then, and yes, the great Phil Jackson, the greatest coach in the history of the sport. You can give me your Greg Popoviches, you can give me your Steve Kerrs, you can give me your Red Auerbachs. It's Phil Jackson. It's not even close. But Phil Jackson was the president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks. And he was trying to lure his old player at the Chicago Bulls, Steve Kerr. So it was Knicks, it was Warriors, and what happened? He picked the Warriors. And the rest is history. In his first year as head coach, what do? They go and win the title. And then what they do, the next season, have the greatest regular season in the history of the sport, breaking his old team's record in the Chicago Bulls. They lose, blow the 3-1 lead, get Kevin Durant. Again, the rest is history. Then they go on a little bit of a lull. Is Steve Kerr the guy? No more Kevin Durant. Klay Thompson, 2 major injuries. Are you ever going to get back to where you once were? A couple of years without a playoff appearance. Steph's hurt. He's out for a year. Draymond Green said he doesn't play and get up for regular season games. And then you draft, you develop, you make the right moves. Everything falls into place perfectly for you. And you get your 4th chip as a head coach. Now, it kind of feels like, you know what? This might be it. This might be the last dance, if you will. And maybe not this year. Or maybe this year. Because he signed a 2-year extension. But is he really going to go into the 2025-2026 season as a lame duck coach? I don't see that happening. So you could make the argument this is the last year of Steve Kerr as Golden State Warriors head coach, which should be nuts. But also, all good things must come to an end, right? I mean, here he is talking with NBC Bay Area's own Raj Mathai just the other week in a great sit-down, by the way. We'll hear a couple of the sound bites. But he expects it to be amicable when he splits from the Golden State Warriors.
There's going to come a time, and maybe it's in 2 years when my contract's up. Maybe that's the time where it's time for me to move on and time for the Warriors to seek new blood and new ideas. And we'll both know when that time comes. And I can tell you one thing, it will be a very amicable parting of the ways whenever that happens.
When I heard that soundbite, and I want to know from the Warriors fans at 888-957-9570, it's different when it's a player because there's always business talks, there's conversations, you never know. But when the head coach is basically giving you a time frame where this thing's about to end, it's kind of sobering a little bit. I mean, we're talking about one of the greatest runs and greatest stretches, and not only Bay Area sports history, but in the sport of basketball. And the head coach of that team is basically saying, yeah, it's about 2 more years left probably. And I'm willing to wager maybe it's only 1, depending on how this next season goes. He's going to be the head coach of Team USA's basketball as they head to Paris next month. Whatever it is, month and a half, was it July? I don't know. I know they're going to be practicing and doing like a warm-up games in Las Vegas, whatever. But he's going to be the head coach there. Steph's going to be on the team. LeBron's going to be on the team. Kevin Durant's going to be on the team. Anthony Edwards. God, we need him. Kawhi, I don't know. Is he healthy? Joel Embiid, is he healthy? Halliburton. And yes, by the way, the Celtics-Pacers tonight get back in action. Is anyone giving the Pacers a shot in that game? In that series? I don't know. I feel like if they steal one tonight, maybe, just maybe, they have a chance. But even then, even when the Celtics tricked off the game early on against the Heat and against, the Cavaliers, they just doubled down the game after that. They're just so much more talented than the Pacers. I think they'll lean on that. And then it'll be, the finals. And can they get it done? I'm interested in talking about Steve Kerr this morning, specifically on this 10-year anniversary of him becoming head coach. And what do you think about, Warriors fans? When you think of Steve Kerr and the Steve Kerr era in Golden State, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What is the first... Honestly, the image that is in my mind, it's not something that's happy. It's him getting angry and punching a clipboard. That's what is in my mind when I think of Steve Kerr as Golden State Warriors head coach, is him punching and shattering a clipboard. Because I think that's emblematic of how much he cares about this team and this squad and this sport. It may not see it. You may not see it all the time. He may not show it all the time. But that's him. He's fiery. He's angry. He gets upset. Now, he had a lot of moments where it's like, hey, I got Kevin Durant on this team. We're going back to back. It's easy. It'd be funny following along those seasons because he'd say almost every other day, yeah, this isn't normal. This isn't the real NBA, he would say all the time. But it was the real NBA. And they were dominating it. And they were playing it at a level that we had never seen before. So that's my question this morning as we celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Steve Kerr becoming the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. We got some action-packed guests today on the station. Bob Myers, former president of basketball operations for the Golden State Warriors, 10:30 with Steiny and E-Dog Evan Giddings. Cannot wait for that. Bob doing a hell of a job with ESPN this year. Kind of asking about that, how that's been going. Does he listen to all that noise out there? People too hard on my guy, Bob. He's fine. He's fine. Doing great, Bob, if you're listening. Also, Otto Porter Jr. Okay. Junior. 12 o'clock. And then Sean Livingston, 12:30. S-Dot. One of the smoothest mid-range jumpers you'll ever see in the NBA. So it's an action-packed guest group for Steiny and Evan, and maybe we'll have some more throughout. Brandon Pajemski. I heard we're efforting as a station. First team all-rookie. Okay. I'm not mad at it. As the NBA announced their all-rookie team yesterday. And it goes as follows. Jaime Jaquez Jr. out of UCLA. Chet Holmgren, Brandon Miller, Brandon Pajemski, and Victor Wembanyama. So there you go. I think those are all pretty much, standard. What we all thought. It is pretty crazy that Jaquez and Pajemski went back-to-back in the draft. The Lakers ended up with Jalen Hood-Schifino. Could have had either one of those players. Whew. That's going to hurt, Lakers. You hate to see that one. Chet Holmgren, though, baller. Brandon Miller, baller. I was actually, do you know what? I was ready to not call him a bust, but I saw him struggle in Summer League. And you see all these guys struggle, right? Say what you will. But you sometimes see the opposite. Because I was watching a game when they were doing the California Classic. They do it every summer. They do it at Chase. They do it at Golden One. And now they're doing it at both arenas this year. They were switching off for a little bit. But last year, I took the little guy, young Benjamin, and we were just sitting there watching it. He just likes to, doesn't matter who the players are. He just likes to watch it. But it was the Heat and the Hornets. And Jaquez, my God. And it might have been the Heat versus the Lakers because they were all playing a different one. But one of the games, Jaime Jaquez was just absolutely en fuego, fitting he's on the Miami Heat, and just could not miss. He dropped like 21 in the first half. I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's legit. Yeah, his stuff translates. And I know, again, Summer League is not an indicator of how great you're going to be at the next level, but you saw the skill set and you saw like, oh man, all these other teams made a huge mistake not drafting him. Podziemski, I didn't see it in Summer League. He struggled, looked unsure of himself, wasn't very good. Brandon Miller, same thing. Very high draft pick. All the memes, all the jokes about, Alabama, one-shot wonder. But he was improving. All season long, he was improving. Podziemski, improving. We knew Chet Holmgren was special. We knew Victor Wembanyama was going to be special. At least I did. I mean, if anyone was sleeping on Wemby, I don't know. Put down the pipe. Guy's legit. So, shout out to the all-rookie first team. 888-957-9570 if you'd like to weigh in on the conversation. Oh, Oreo. 408, excuse me. My lines were blocked. 408. Call now. 888-957-9570. We don't want to block the lines. We don't block you lovely people. That's not what we do here on the pregame show. We talk with you, not at you, as the great Matt Steinmetz would say. 415. What do you think about when he thinks about Steve Kerr as we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of him becoming head coach? Look at his trophy case. Pretty good. Oh. That wasn't about Steve Kerr. Strike that. Reverse it. That was about Tony Cruz. Yes, the great Tony Cruz is announced as retiring after Champions League final and after Euros. Obviously, Tony Cruz, German international player, won a World Cup with Germany, has won multiple Champions League finals, has won La Liga multiple times. He is legit. He is legit. We're going to miss you, Tony. I think of a clutch player, too. A guy that's slept on a lot. When you think of the greatest of the greats, and you think of Real Madrid, what do you think of, first and foremost? You think of Ronaldo. You think of both Ronaldos, right? You think of Luka Modric. You think of, hell, now it's going to be Kylian Mbappe. But Tony Cruz, the class, the touch, hey, off the charts. Congrats on a wonderful career. Oreo Cookie wants to join in on the conversation. What's going on, Oreo? You're on the pregame show on 95.7 The Game. Oh, real quick. Hold on. We got a skeleton crew in the back. We got to pot you up. So give me a sec, Oreo. It's all right. We're all over the place. It's all good. It's okay. Sam's got it. There we go. We're back. What's up, Oreo?
Hey, good morning, brother. I just wanted to first say congratulations to Steve Kerr on his 10-year anniversary. But having said that, I don't get how some people think that Jackson wouldn't have got us to that promised land. I think he was doing a great job. I think he pumped up our players. I think it's the front office that had the issue. But from what I do remember, the moments that I remember for Steve Kerr is with his hands above his head.
Wait. Before we get that, wait. You think Mark Jackson would have taken this team to 4 titles, Oreo Cookie?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. In basketball, it's very different. You got 5 guys on the court, and 5 guys can make the head coach look like a genius. That's what I think.
Well, I just don't think that this team under Mark. I don't think the team under Mark Jackson, Oreo, was anywhere near defensively as great as they were under Steve Kerr.
That's okay. I mean, everybody's got an opinion. It doesn't make us right. Doesn't make us wrong.
Well,
but
it wasn't an opinion. It was just they were just better defensively. Oreo is just what I'm trying to say. Continue though. There you go.
The image that I have of Steve Kerr, there's 2 images. One is with his hands above his head when Curry was working his magic. I think it was against CP3 doing the behind the back dribble with a 3-pointer, saying "Oh no," and then it went in. That's one. The second one is when he said he was tired of Draymond's "you know what." So
that's a good one.
Those 2 images are just in my head, man. But like I said, congratulations to Steve Kerr. The one word I would say for him is lucky.
Wow. Lucky. What? I don't think he would argue with that. He's been very lucky. You have to have luck throughout your career. He's been lucky to be a part of, and he'd say this, 2 of the greatest Hell, you can go 3 of the greatest dynasties in the history of the sport. And we talked about dynasty yesterday. If you want to call the Spurs a dynasty, if you want to, that's fine. I don't call them a dynasty, but others do. Sustained excellence, that's fine. But you think of the Bulls, you think of the Spurs, and you think of the Warriors, that's unbelievable. So yeah, you got to have a little bit of luck, but he was a good player as well. And you have to get in the right time, the right situation. Sometimes it's all about that. Timing is everything, is how the saying goes. And timing was perfect 10 years ago. When the Warriors were just knocking on the cusp, they have made a run here and there. You know, they got to the second round. You know, they had beaten the Nuggets. They lost to the Spurs. That was a fun series. And they lose to the Clippers. And then, you know what? That team, I think, it maxed out under Mark Jackson. It did. And I just totally disagree, by the way, with Oreo Cookie saying the team would have been as successful under Mark Jackson as Steve Kerr. We saw it with our own eyes, what the team was under Mark Jackson. They were a playoff team. But I don't think the team was going anywhere defensively the way they were under Steve Kerr. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it, Bob. I don't. Speaking of Steve Kerr, this one was interesting. Again, sitting down with Raj Mathai the other week, NBC Sports Bay Area. And I didn't really get to this sound. But hearing Steve Kerr talk about communicating with young players kind of also signaled to me just how difficult the job is for some of these older coaches, and just makes me respect the guys like Popovich that have been doing it for a long time and are now doing another iteration and rebuild with Wemby, Phil Jackson, what he's been able to do for so long. Tom Thibodeau has been doing it for a long time, had different iterations with different teams. Getting young players to buy in, a lot more difficult than one might think.
I think definitely in every job in sports, almost a shelf life and for a coach. And I think I will feel it when that comes. And I did not feel it this past year in terms of, it's time to leave. I feel like we've got a couple of years here with Steph, Draymond, hopefully Clay. We're still going. We're also bringing on a whole group of young players who are doing really well. I'm loving my job every day. I love coming into this building every day. What's not to love about the Bay? So I can't wait for next season with the Warriors.
You can't wait till next season. How are Warriors fans feeling, though, lately about Steve Kerr? Because it's all nice that we're thinking about it, and we've been talking about the last 20 minutes, celebrating the greatness that is Steve Kerr. Let's push it forward a little bit. How would you grade the season he just had? What would the grade be for you? Now, I think I've been a lot higher on him than some others have in the past, because the one thing he's been knocked on is the development of the young players, to which I will give Mark Jackson credit there. He did help develop the young core of this team dramatically. He helped that. I will give him credit there. Him saying Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry are the 2 greatest shooters he's ever seen, that's, you know what? People were kind of laughing at it at the time, but he was right. He was right. I mean, those are the 2 greatest shooters in the history of the sport, and Steph by another tier above Klay. And that's saying something, because Klay, when he is on fire, even Steph may not even be able to touch him. But for Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr, going to him now, in this past season, the development is the one thing that we've been talking about under Steve Kerr. Hey, develop the young guys. Although I thought, Kevon Looney developed under him. If we're going to talk about, bringing in other guys, I think Andrew Wiggins, at least for that run, looked like he improved. Right? Gary Payton II, he was a journeyman, found a role finally on a team. Now looks like a journeyman again. But they were able to catch, some lightning in a bottle. And that has to be credited to Steve Kerr and his coaching staff. But this past season specifically, and as I just mentioned, Brandon Podziemski being all-rookie first team in the NBA as the NBA awards for all-rookie team got announced yesterday. No Trace Jackson Davis, by the way. what grade would you give him? Because I'm giving him, after everything that had gone down, and you can say Spadoni didn't even make the playoffs, and I might sound crazy, I'm giving him a B. After everything that took place in the offseason, bringing in Chris Paul, a very proud player, a Hall of Fame player, convincing him to come off the bench and to take a bench role and to be a mentor to these young guys, convincing him doing that, not easy. Developing and playing Brandon Pajemski, Trace Jackson-Davis, pushing Dario Saric, Kevon Looney to the side. Now, Moses Moody, I get it. A lot of fans wanted to see more of him and thought he should have been the guy, more so than Pajemski. And maybe Moody will have his time next year. But I think Brandon Pajemski earned it. You're seeing it with the first team all-rookie. He earned it. Jonathan Kuminga, he got better this year. Again, you can say Spadoni, well, he should have been playing more. Maybe he should have been. But he's playing now, and he's getting better. So the job he did last year, on the surface, you might say, hey, no playoffs. That was a failure. And that's fine. You can think that. 888-957-9570. What grade would you give him? I'm giving him a B for what he did last year. 510 on the Xfinity Mobile text line. The Warriors are in this situation because they messed up on the Wiseman pick. That pick would have kept us strong. Possibly. Who are you taking that pick? You're not getting Anthony Edwards with number 2 overall. You're not. Are you getting LaMelo Ball? Maybe. Are you getting, I don't know, Tyrese Halliburton? Again, no. You're getting James Wiseman 10 times out of 10. You can say and go back and be like, oh, we wanted this. I think Bob Myers said that. What was the IST, the in-season tournament? And they're talking about it was the Pacers versus the Lakers in the championship game. By the way, going back to that's funny now, isn't it? Lakers beating the Pacers in the in-season tournament, the inaugural in-season tournament. Lakers being the champs there, IST champs. And now the Pacers, look at that. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Who would have thought? I feel like the Paul Rudd meme. Not me. That's for sure. But just talking about, hypotheticals and the Wiseman pick and stuff like that, it woulda, coulda, shoulda. It didn't happen. Sucks. Hey, you can bring him back, though. Unrestricted free agent, James Wiseman. Bring him on back. Get the band back together. Yeah, why not? He's cheap. Seriously. Why not? 888-957-9570. What grade would you give Steve Kerr? And the first thing you think about with Steve Kerr as we're celebrating his 10-year anniversary since getting announced as head coach of the Golden State Warriors, the first image that pops into your mind when you think of Steve Kerr is what? And the grade you would give him for this past season. 2-parter there. We'll pick that up on the other side. Plus more of your calls, more of your texts. We'll talk some Giants as Sergio Romo, yes, multiple-time World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants, joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday and had some interesting thoughts on the young guys, their development. And, is it playoffs still? Is that the goal for the Giants? Or is it, just developing the young guys? We'll discuss that on the other side as well. On the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Founded in 1964, Fremont Bank understands the difference 60 years can make.
Welcome back. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni in. One segment down, 2 more to go before handing it off to Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky of the Morning Roast. Again, we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Steve Kerr getting announced as Golden State Warriors head coach. And you know what? I got a little treat for you guys. So first off, good morning to all of you. Just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for summer. Again, it's May 21st. Summer's right around the corner, baby. You can feel it. We're all starting to feel it. We're getting a little antsy here. That's okay. It's all right. But you know what? Vibes are good. I know the Warriors aren't in the playoffs. I know the Niners, they're reeling. They're getting a little better, though. We got Brandon Ayuk still. We got Debo. We got Ricky Pearsall. Vibes are okay. Giants, young guys playing well. Vibes are okay right now. We're going to keep it that way. Hit me up, 888-957-9570. Xfinity Mobile text line. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. All streaming at 95.7 The Game. All powered by First NorCal Credit Union. First image that comes to mind when you think of Steve Kerr as the Golden State Warriors head coach. And what would you grade his past season? It's a 2-parter. But I wanted to play this. It's 2 minutes, so it's all right, a couple minutes. But a little snippet from 10 years ago today. Bob Fitzgerald, Bob Myers, and Steve Kerr at his introductory press conference. Take a listen.
When you, like I said, embark upon this journey of trying to win a championship, there's a lot of big decisions. But we feel like in Steve, we hit it right, and we're just so glad it worked out, and he said yes.
Now, I haven't heard you really talk about this, but Final Four with Lute Olson, 5 NBA championships, GM for 3 years, made the playoffs twice. You're an elite NBA broadcaster. Why go into coaching? It's kind of fraught with a little bit of pressure, a little bit of stress. Why become a head coach?
This is something I've thought about for a long time, Bob. You know, I've been in the NBA for 26 years now, 15 as a player, 8 as a broadcaster, 3 as a general manager. And the greatest moments of my career have come through team building and being a part of something special, whether it was going to the Final Four with my teammates at Arizona or being on championship teams with Phil Jackson and Greg Popovich. It was the magic that occurs when a group of players and coaches and an organization can come together and achieve something that's special. And you can't find that anywhere else. And so I've been intrigued by coaching for a long time. I decided to go into television because I was raising young kids. Now they're all in college. They don't even know where I am anymore or what I'm doing. So now's the time where I can create that balance between family and work and do it quite easily. And I've been preparing in a lot of ways, attending training camps of people like Hubie Brown and Don Nelson and Greg Popovich. I've consulted a lot of former coaches in a lot of different sports. I've put together a philosophy and a plan. So I've been preparing for this, and I'm well aware that I haven't done it, and I'm going to have a lot to learn, and I'm planning on putting in the work to learn as much as I can and to put the people around me to help me be as good as I can.
And that's the last part for me. Again, that was 10 years ago today, the Steve Kerr introductory press conference when he was announced as Golden State Warriors head coach. The rest is history, 4 titles later. All right. He put the coaching staff around him that he needed, right? Ron Adams was the defensive mastermind with that crew, right? Alvin Gentry on the offensive end, helping him out, helping that team out. And say what you will about Alvin Gentry as a head coach in the league. And he did get to a Western Conference, either finals or semifinals, I always forget. Took it to distance with Kobe and the Lakers when they were at the height of their powers with Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, and co. But he was on that staff, right? You think of Mike Brown later on, right? You think of, all these, Kenny Atkinson now. Think of all of these coaches that have now been a part of the Steve Kerr coaching tree. And maybe that's unfair to a guy like Mike Brown who's established before. But it's impressive. One of the great things that I remember John Lynch saying when he was announced as GM of the San Francisco 49ers, it always stuck with me. And it's something a lot of people say, but him specifically, because he was getting a lot of flack too. Former player, he was in the booth, and then he was just jumping out of there. He had no experience when it came to being a general manager in the NFL. Just like Steve Kerr had no experience being a head coach in the NBA now coming out of the booth. But what John Lynch said was he knows what he doesn't know. Meaning, I am aware of where I need to improve, and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to help people help me to do that. And that's called good team building. That's called not being arrogant. It's humbling yourself and telling other people, hey, listen, I don't know everything. I'm going to need help. And you know what? You might think that sounds easy, but it's really not. Trust me, I have 9 siblings. I don't think any of them want my help half the time because they have too much pride. They want their little brother helping them? No. But Steve Kerr gets it. He leaned on those coaches. He leaned on his veteran players, right? We're talking about lasting images at 888-957-9570. The first image that comes to mind when you think of Steve Kerr as Warriors head coach. And I have one where it's, you know what? He's fed up. What is it? He's fed up. You guys coach. Or Draymond, whatever it is. I think he gets ejected. He's like, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm gone. They're coaching. Like, I think of Draymond Green getting the clipboard, right? Or whatever it was. Andre Iguodala. It's just, Steve Kerr gets it. I think that's as much as I could say about a coach in the proper sense and in a good light. Steve Kerr gets it. He does. He understands his perception to the fan base. He understands how he is viewed outside of the Warriors bubble. He gets it all. Guys like Oreo Cookie called in earlier. He's not the only one. I'm not picking on Oreo Cookie. That's fine. He thinks that Mark Jackson would have done just as good as Steve Kerr. I think there's a portion of the fan base that does believe that. I think that same portion of the fan base wants Steve Kerr to be gone. I completely disagree. That's okay. That's okay. I just know that as soon as he took over as head coach of this franchise, they won and have not stopped winning. Up until recently, in the last 2 seasons, they hadn't lost in a Western Conference Finals series. It's only happened once still. To the Lakers last year. They didn't even get to the playoffs this year to do that, but yeah, well, we're not going to talk about their playing game performance, but it's the playing game. It's a crapshoot, whatever. It's like a wild card game in MLB. Now they have a series. From the Xfinity Mobile text line, 408, the Warriors era was a moment in time that was, for me, exciting. But it's also the moment shared with family and friends that made it special. It takes me back. And you know what? That's beautifully said. That is beautifully said from the 408. We're going to pick up this conversation, wrap it up. Lasting image of Steve Kerr as Warriors head coach for you. What is it? 888-957-9570. Plus, I want to get into more sound from what Sergio Romo, former closer of both the A's and Giants, by the way, played under Bob Melvin. Get his thoughts on the job that the veterans are doing, the young guys are doing. Joined Willard Dibbs yesterday. You can find that entire interview on YouTube, on the Odyssey app. Download that bad boy, favorite 95.7 The Game. It is free, and we love it. We also love you on the pregame show, 95.7 The Game.
Celebrate Memorial Day weekend at the Golf.
2000. As a member, you'll receive the Argonaut, an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And the Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Dub Nation, this is Tim Roy, and you're listening to the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, Tim. Tim Roy needs bass. He needs it fast. Come on, Sideshow. Let's go. R.I.P. Tracks a Million. Shout out Mr. Fab and Too Short. Shout out to all of you listening on the Odyssey app. It's free. Download it. Just search 95.7 The Game. Shout out to everyone listening via Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. All powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Again, search 95.7 The Game. Like, subscribe. Ring the bell. Don't just subscribe. You got to like everything. Yes. We are shills for that. I need it. I need you to like everything. Like. That is the society we live in. And sports fans are fickle people. We are realizing that this morning as we celebrate the 10-year anniversary of when Steve Kerr became Golden State Warriors head coach. Not everyone was on board with that. Some people didn't believe Mark Jackson should have gotten fired, but you know what? It was the greatest decision this franchise ever made. It was a tough one. I'm not saying Mark Jackson didn't do good things in Golden State. He did. He helped lay the foundation for what this team became later on. He is the stepping stone on the great leap that this Golden State Warriors franchise took under Joe Lacob, Steve Kerr, Bob Myers. But Mark Jackson also gets credit for that too. So I'm not turning this into a diss on Mark Jackson by any means. No. He should be remembered fondly in Golden State. Steve Kerr just took this team to another level. That's okay. It's all right. That happens in sports. Sometimes you need a new voice. It's crazy. I know. But that needs to happen sometimes. Speaking of new voices, I'm hearing Sergio Romo's voice a lot on our airways. Sergio Romo, obviously, just one of the great personalities in a market full of them. When I think of personalities in sports, I think the Bay Area may have the most of them. Just thinking of those Giants teams, thinking of a lot of them on those A squads, Grant Balfour, thinking of all the Raiders teams in the 70s, all the Niners squads, the championship squads, all the Warriors. Shout out Draymond Green, by the way. Oh, God. By the way, did Draymond really say there's no injury excuse to the Knicks when they were down like 4 of their best players? Come on, man. Come on. Was there no injury excuse for when Stephen Curry got hurt that entire season and you didn't really want to play any of the games? You didn't get up for any of those games in the regular season with Eric Paschal and co? Please. Miss me with that crap. On to happier things, though. Sergio Romo talking about, the young guys. And that's the big conversation right now. And for the next 9 minutes, I just want to ask people. 888-957-9570. Are you even worried about the playoffs at this point? Are you even thinking about the playoffs? Because for me, it's all about the development of the young players. And if the playoffs come because of that, even greater. That's awesome. But I can't even think about that right now. I have to think about Matos. I got to think about Ramos. I got to think about Joe Shasky. He's locked in. He's got a Starbucks. I remember back in the day when I first started the show, Joe Shasky, by the way, was doing a little spin-off. He used to bring me Starbucks all the time, and I never forgot that. And when I make it big, Joe, I will go to your house and bring you an LJ. I'll give him a little vanilla bean frappuccino.
If I didn't have to walk 7,000 blocks to get to work in the snow, uphill, I would bring you a coffee.
No, I don't need it anymore. I'm actually a tea guy now. There's no Earl. I'm big Earl Grey, but we're out of the Earl Grey here. First world problems. I'm on green tea right now, which is fine. I go a little bit of the honey. The coffee I found because I got cream in it. It makes it get like the phlegm and stuff in the throat. It's tough when you're just going solo.
Can I just stop you?
You certainly can.
You're a married man with children.
Yes.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Allegedly.
No, specifically.
Okay.
Why are they so crazy? Like, now men are crazy too. Like, I get it. But we're all crazy in our own way.
Yes.
I just...
What
I will never understand the female race.
You're in race.
They're their own species.
You're on the booth right now. You're on the couch, if you will. I'm Sigmund.
Be Dr. Melfi.
Okay, there you go. What's going on, Joey?
Okay, like, why does everything have to be a big hoopla?
What specifically?
Like anything. It could be going get gas. Every time my wife, like, hey, can you move my car? I get in there. Not only is there no gas, it's literally red light scraping the bottom of the gas barrel. Like I'm the only one who knows how to put gas in a car. That's number one. Number two, they'll put us on these missions, these quests.
It's quests.
And I'm like, okay, you've given me no armory and no tools and no map. And really, there's no objective. There's a crib my wife got from a friend. We're going to bring it up to the river.
Okay.
I brought it up to the river. Oh, we unload the crib and everything. There's no bolts. There's no nothing. There's no screws or nothing. And because it's a specific brand, I'm not going to name the brand on air because they could be a sponsor down the line.
All right.
You know how hard it is to get these bolts?
Oh, I'm sure it's going to cost an arm and a leg too.
I've been looking forward to a 3-day week, like a real 3-day week. I've taken time off for family things.
Yeah.
Like a real sit on the cabin, on the deck, enjoy the sun.
Yes.
Did you build the crib? Did you build the crib? No, I couldn't build the crib. No, the free crib that you got, I could not build it because there were no bolts to it.
Why don't you just get one of those like cheap ones where you like, you just fold it out?
That's too easy.
Okay.
Because that's too easy. Because I need to be on a quest.
Sorry, cheap insinuates that the crib's going to break. One of those inexpensive ones that are travel specific for these reasons. Where
Joe,
you can
I have the pack and play.
Oh, exactly.
I want to just bring the pack and play.
That's what I'm talking about. I couldn't think of the word.
I want to just bring the pack and play. But no, I'm not going to go. Now it's the drama of I'm not going to go to the cabin until the crib is built. So I have, and like, now what, I'm going to drive an hour and a half to build a crib that I don't even know if I could find bolts for.
Yeah, and at that point,
Joe, I'm going
maybe
to Target.
you should just sleep in the bed at this point.
I'm going to go to Target. And I'm just going to buy
everything.
I'm just going to, it's just, and then but we got one for free, but it's a piece of junk.
Oh, God. I do love the free stuff.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I do love getting the free stuff. There's this thing called Buy Nothing. So if those of you that know what it is, there's a thing called Buy Nothing where it's like people just give away stuff like, hey, you're in your local neighborhood. I don't need this anymore. Come take it. It's just taking up space. It's nice. Sometimes
it's like next door.
Exactly. Very same thing.
I love next door. But you have to put in the appropriate
description.
Yes.
Because I've gotten things, specifically a push, like a nice walking stroller.
Okay.
One of those 3-wheeled ones, right? Because there's a lot of hills in Oakland. I like to take the baby girl. I like to take the dog.
Over the hills, Led Zeppelin.
Exactly. So the tire blew out one of these other ones, and I was just too lazy to fix it. So I was like, let's just get another one. She's like, oh, I found this other free one. I was like, okay. But there's a problem with it. I was like, oh, what is it? I already picked it up at this point. Oh yeah, like one of the front wheels, like it's just like not working. It's like
the front wheel. That's kind of a problem.
I was like, what am I supposed to like wheelbarrow or pop a wheelie with this kid up a hill in Oakland where it's like a 90-degree angle?
It's the Rough Riders video.
Yes. So it's like, Jesus. So I was just, okay. It turns out it was nothing too bad, but it's just certain things like that. And it goes back to communication, Joe. And it always goes back to communication because in a perfect world, communication would be perfect. It just never is. There's always just some little detail. And by the way, we're just talking about things that grind our gears. I swear to God, and I'm going to be talking about this. And honey, if you're listening, I love you.
No, we love them.
If I have to go on a family trip to Marshall's, I'm going to blow my brains out. If I have to go on another family trip to Target, I'm going to blow my brains out. It does not need to be all 4 people going to these places. Oh, but it's fun. I was like, no, it's not fun for me.
No, they're touching everything.
I don't want to go to these places.
You take a 12-minute trip into a 48-minute trip.
And then she tells me, and this is the Cross Jover special gripe hour.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's
fine.
Memorial Day week.
No, it's fine. Because I need to get it off my chest. And you know what? My chest is getting hairier these days, and it's getting off my head. And I need to talk about these things. This is going to drive me insane because I have no one else to talk about them with. If I have to go to Target again, I might go insane. I don't want to go in there anymore. I don't want to go. I don't want to get a Slurpee. I don't want to go to the kids' Toy X section.
They put the Slurpee at the front.
I know strategically. They do. I don't want to go to the demo section and play Super Mario Kart. And Benny doesn't know how to use the Nintendo Switch controllers because there's 2 of them. And God bless him, he's 4 years old. He just doesn't know how to play it. I don't want to do that anymore, Joe. That's all I'm saying.
The toy section is so big and so robust. I want the toys.
There's like 10 aisles. There's 10 aisles.
It's incredible. And by the way, why do I like what? Okay, I want an honest question. Getting out of Target, minimum price point, $250?
It's at least 100.
Joe, it's sad.
At least.
I get sad because I'm like, detergent, that's like $40.
Oh yeah.
Dog food, that's $50. These formulas, and you want to talk about a racket? The formula for baby food?
A tumbler cup you don't need, but it looks cute, so it's $30 anyways because it's a Stanley, whatever the hell that means. That's a person's name. It's a character from The Office. Right there.
Don't even.
Yeti. And $30 right there down the drain.
It's just. But some are dishwasher safe and some aren't.
I hate that.
It's 2024.
Top rack only.
How are they not dishwasher safe?
We got a minute 30 left. 10-year anniversary, Joe Shasky, since Steve Kerr has been announced as Warriors head coach. First image that comes to mind when you think of Steve Kerr as head coach of the Golden State Warriors.
Wow. First image.
Mine was him breaking a clipboard. It's just stuck in my head forever.
Really?
It's kind of crazy because you don't associate with him, but that's the fieriness that we love of Steve Kerr. And one of the greatest moments, I think, of him just going nuts. And we love that as our coaches, right? In the Bay Area, we think of Kyle Shanahan get pissed off. We think of Bochy. Kapler's a little forced. Bob Melvin even. We'll see it down the road. Don't worry. The A's, he got pissed off. I think of him breaking that clipboard. What is it for you?
Mine is one of two things. It's either him putting his arm around Steph Curry after losing the 2019 finals.
Like that.
And like almost like soaking it in. You know what I mean? Like, what a hell of a run. The other one is him just sitting down, kneels, like legs crossed, smiling because the Warriors are up 30.
I love that. One of them called in, I think it was Oreo Cookie. It was him putting his hands over his head like that was a horrible shot, but then he made it to Steph, puts his arm up.
I
think that was over Chris Paul or whatever.
Like, what's Phil's?
That's a great one.
Phil would be like sitting down, legs crossed.
Yeah, Phil, the lasting image of him is in his big chair. He's got like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on his coaching staff. He's got all these other players, executives. He's got Kurt Rambis down there, and he's just taller than everyone because he's just this massive human just sitting down. Just, you know what? Letting him play through it. Just sitting there with his legs and his arms crossed. That's my lasting image of Phil Jackson.
You know what Mike Malone's is? Not wanting to hold the L.
On 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union.
Hey, what's going on?